Hi, welcome to Kinetic Chats for the month of June 2023. Kinetic Chats is a chat between us at Kinetic. Today it's with myself and the amazing Sir Dimmer from Sutherland, where we help to inform both our team and any other martial arts clubs out there about what they should be doing during the month of June, as we're just about to lead into it. And we are just about to kick off June. It's the 1st of June today.
Yeah.
So we're maybe one day late. So Dimmer, month of June, training wise, anything surprises, or are we straight and normal and narrow with training? Where's the training at?
Fairly consistent training, pretty straight. My only concern with training is at the school holidays are coming up around the corner. Not just of yet, but soon. So it's on my mind.
Yep, good. So school holidays coming. You should by now. The school holidays are going to happen in July. You should by now have the dates you're going to be doing anything you're doing. So you've got those dates?
Yep.
Good. So if you're running a club, the dates that you should have is you should potentially have some days where you're going to stop classes or merge classes. The other thing you might want to have is some dates where you're going to be running kids' days primarily. Do you know which days you're doing?
For the Sutherland school, we'll be doing the Wednesdays.
That's good. So 2 Wednesdays during the holidays, 9 till 3?
Yep, 9 till 3.
That's perfect. And do you have afternoon classes on those Wednesdays, or will you probably merge those into other classes?
Yeah, so I'll be merging the other classes, even somewhere on the other days. So the 2 kids classes, instead of having separate classes, will be also merged together too.
Okay, that's great. Just makes it efficient and keeps the energy in the room. So that's our holidays for training, and training should be standard right now. You should be going through tournaments and development towards a tournament, and then recap post-tournament, or developing towards grading, having the grading, and then moving on to the next phase of training. The other things now, the rest of it is really boring in June. So let's start with our boring things. Have you got any of the boring administrative items required?
Well, it's the end of financial year, so.
End of financial year, indeed. And anything that's on your horizon to get done this week or month or into next month?
Just to double check the numbers, so the class numbers, dojo numbers.
Yep.
As well as the payments. So making sure I know roughly how much we're making and sort of predict a bit in the future, so there's no surprises.
Yep, I thoroughly recommend. A couple of numbers that you should write down and that you should literally document. One is the number of students in your club, your standard fees, and whether you predict that you're going to need to increase your fees with what you want to achieve. Now, I don't want to be greedy. We are definitely not a greedy club. But the truth of the matter is, if I want to have an extra instructor, I need to pay that additional instructor. And it takes about 1 year to 2 years to develop a really good instructor in an average club. So that's a long-term future planning. So we need to really be understanding of what are the student numbers, and maybe do some maths, just basic addition and division. What's the students' fees, and then how many staff, how many do I want on my team for that particular type of class. And now's a good time of year to start thinking about those things, because finances come up as we come to speak to our accountants. You should have an idea of what you're paying out, maybe for equipment as well. Rent, you should be starting to review your rent. What's my rent going to be this year and next year? And you shouldn't be going into one of the classic problems with, particularly with martial artists. I love what I do. I'm pretty lucky. You enjoy what you do?
Love what I do.
Most of the time? Pretty much all the time?
Yeah.
One of the problems is we don't sit down with our numbers. There's no real reason to do it, and I don't enjoy it. So we often neglect it. And I know most martial artists that I speak to, they turn up at their accountants like a stunned mullet, and then they leave like a confused stunned mullet. They really did not achieve anything in that moment, and they're sort of scrambling for what they should do. Really important, if you're going to go into those kinds of meetings, you want to get the best value out of that hour or 2 that you're going to be charged for. You must prepare. So take a day, take a night, And even if you don't know where to start, just start looking at whatever you can and write it down on a piece of paper so you've got an idea before you speak to your accountant. Other thing that comes up just around the corner is the only two sure things in life are death and taxes. Death's not on the door, but taxes starts in July. Do you have any? You're not really preparing for it at the moment, right? You've got a large amount you've got some money saved for tax numbers. Average club, we should probably start to predict our taxes and just check that we've got enough money to pay the tax that we're going to have to pay as this financial year turns over. You should try and do that a little bit before you see your accountant, and then definitely when you see your accountant, confirm that, that's when you get the real accurate details. But you should be just having a bit of a guess, at least. And depending on your business structure, whether you're a sole trader or a company or a trust or whatever it is, you should have that number written down. Maybe last year's, if you know what you did last year and you made the same, or your business has been the same, just predict and at least have something that you're working towards. And then speak to your accountant basically to get it really confirmed. The other thing that we should probably look at around this time of year is inflation's been rampant in Australia this year. Rents have gone up, domestic rents have gone up, and we are most likely going to have to review fees either now or if you haven't done last year or next year. Again, this isn't about being greedy and getting money out of people. It's about making sure that you're going to be there to survive and do the service that you do and love for the next 5 years. I really recommend you don't do a knee-jerk reaction and increase fees. You're sort of hopefully the same opinion, but at least write those numbers down and predict, am I going to need to, or is it appropriate to change or increase fees over the next 12 months? And this point of time is when you should probably write down the dates of when you think you might want to do that. You should have a really specific methodology. If you need a methodology, you can call us. We've got a really specific way of doing it, but otherwise you should have that. You should be reviewing those fees. Other things we've got in June, good news, it's His Majesty's the King's
birthday.
It's his birthday. So happy birthday, King Charles. It's not your birthday, but on the 12th of June, I think it's the 12th of June this year. 12th of June is the day off. You cancel, what do you do?
We don't usually have classes on that day, but it's a public holiday, so for me, not too much change.
No change. For us, we do run classes on Mondays, but for the 12th of June, we will pause classes 100%. We might do an instructor thing. So sometimes on some of these public holidays, some we don't, Anzac Day never, but some of the other public holidays we might have a open mat sparring session or an instructor session. That's probably the two things that you might want to consider doing. If you're running courses that cover the Monday, then you should find a way to make up that course and have a preset date where you're going to make it up. Like where we started. I think website's pretty critical. Website and insurance. I don't know when people set this to check it in their diary, but this is the most boring period in the year. It's all administration. Check you own your website and check that you, when the timer goes off, that you re-own it, okay? Because it's got a due date. It's the same as your insurance. Do you know any funny stories about purchasing or websites going past their due dates?
Yeah, I've been told by someone that apparently someone has bought the Google website. From
Google?
Yeah.
Did that happen? Did it time out? How long ago did this happen years ago? Or?
I'm not too sure how long ago it happened, but apparently it did happen. So it's quite a funny story.
Who bought it?
Some random guy. Just a random guy. No big organisation, just some random guy saw it and went, oh, I might buy that.
Bought Google and then sold it back?
Yeah, well, Google didn't want it back, so got a pretty good pay from it.
Well done. So check you own your website if it's going to expire in whenever, now is the time of year I think when you should be checking your account, your insurance, your website. Last thing is end of financial year. This is the time of year where you see advertisements. If you're a builder, there is an ad somewhere for a Hilux for end of financial year car purchases. Opinions?
Just make sure you check your numbers.
Check your numbers. Wasting your money on an end of financial year purchase is still wasting your money. So if you're thinking about going out and making sure you're going to purchase a stack of end of financial year items, I thoroughly encourage you to check your numbers first, check with your account if you should be buying something with $50,000 this week to decrease your tax or whatever reasons that you're thinking of doing it. There's lots of ads on radio and online for end of financial year, but be aware they're just ads, they're not advice. Speak to a professional accountant for that advice, yeah? And that's it. That's Kinetic Chats for the month of June.